It is now time for your weekend NASCAR preview here on the RotoExperts in the morning. And for that, we bring in our good friend, Sean Engel. Sean, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning to you, too. Glad to be here.
Oh, we're pumped to have you. You're the one that called Denny Hamlin just a couple of weeks ago for the Daytona 500. So the Kobalt Tools 400 is this week. So my first question is the most important question of the day. Who's going to win?
I think it's going to be between Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch. Both drivers have really good stats. They've shown that they've been the best here the past few years. I mean, Johnson's coming off a victory at Atlanta, and he has 4 wins, whereas Kyle Busch, he has a really good average finish position of the past 3 years of 7.5, which happens to be better than both. I'm expecting those two to go against each other by the end of this race.
If you're forced to pick between those two and you can only pick one, which one would you select and why?
I would pick Johnson a bit more because there's been 2 test practice sessions that happened at Las Vegas, and between the 2 of them, Jimmy Johnson's been a little bit faster than Kyle Busch in both sessions. So it's looking like he's already having a bit of a faster car than Kyle Busch.
Should we make anything of the fact that, like, this is the home turf, right, of the Busch brothers, right? Is Kyle Busch worth that price at $10,200 over on DraftKings? I know you mentioned you'd rather Jimmy Johnson, but, you know, what about Kurt Busch? He's $9,200. Is that someone you want to consider? Do we care that this is basically the Busch's backyard?
Well, between the 2 Busch brothers, I think Kyle is a much better pick. He has the stats to prove it. Because, like I said, he has a better average finish of 7.5 over the past 3 races. But Kurt, on the other hand, he pretty much only has an average finish of 23.1 at Las Vegas and a negative pass differential of negative 53. And those are not really, like, good numbers for somebody that you want to finish up high and compete for the win. At best, I think Kurt's going to go for a top 10 this week.
The guy who I'm really impressed with this year is Martin Truex Jr. That's my guy. So is he a good value at 9,100?
I think he is a good value, but I think this week, personally, he's a bit shaky. His stats of average finish are 14.6, and he has a driver rating of 85.4. So he doesn't have the overall best past stats to look forward to, but the thing that makes me especially shaky about him is the fact that currently his crew chief is going through an appeal on his suspension. So we don't even fully know if he's going to be able to go to the race this week. And if that's the case, then Martin Truex Jr., I think, is a bit more of a tournament play at best.
So there you go. He doesn't like the same guy you do, Adam. Sorry.
Well, I didn't say I like him this week. I was asking for his approval because he's been racing well this year. So I just wanted to see if that would continue.
Right, of course. And somebody else that I always consider taking if I ever play NASCAR, I would consider taking because I've heard of him, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was solid last week. Is he somebody you're considering in your lineup this week, Sean?
Yes, indeed, because the fact is that he even has some better past stats at this track than Martin Truex Jr., such as the fact that he spent 71.8 of his laps within the top 15, and this is through all of his races. He even has a 12.6 average finish, and that's better than Martin Truex. So I definitely like Junior quite a bit more this week.
Matt Kenseth has 3 Vegas wins. Do we lock him in at 9,900?
Kenseth may have 3 victories, but 2 of those came over 10 years ago. I mean, even despite that, though, he has a lot of top 10 finishes. He has about 9 of them at this track. So I think he's a solid pick, too.
Well, we're talking to Sean Engel here, talking a little NASCAR with you, Kobalt Tools 500. And we've talked about some of the big-time drivers, some of the guys that we've all heard about. We're all considering getting in for a high price out there. But let's talk a little value, shall we, Sean? And I'm going to start with Brian Scott. He's only $5,400, and he's not started this season necessarily the way you want to start a season, but that makes him a great value play. Is he someone we should consider at just $5,400 this week?
Yep, 5,400. I think he's a really good pick this week. His only past Vegas race, He finished 13th, which for a driver of that value is somebody you would really want to have. On top of that, he has a positive place differential of positive 10 in that previous start. And I think if there's any track that Brian Scott could end up making his season start to go more towards a positive direction, it could be here at Vegas. I can definitely see that happening.
Speaking of value, Paul Menard, he's only 6,500. Is he someone that's in play for you this week?
Yes, you should play him. Menard is practically a steal with that value, and he could bounce a lineup with his 16.7 average finish and average pass differential of 31. And he also has the ninth best 10th consecutive lap average within the second practice test session so far. So he's already looking to have a pretty decent car when it comes to Vegas. You want to have that in your lineup.
Sean Engel at SeanMan247. A couple of quick more questions before we wrap up here. Is Casey Kane a quality pick under $9,000 this week?
I definitely do think so. And the stats go forth and prove that too. He has a positive pass differential of 39. He has 65.9% of his laps within the top 15 across all his races, and he even has a 14.8 average finish at Vegas. There really is a lot to like with Casey Kane this year, and I have a feeling that he might be a bit overlooked compared to some of the other drivers that even have higher values or even slightly lower values than him. But I think Kane is going to be a really good pick this week.
If you're looking to save some money, are Brian Vickers and A.J. Allmendinger in play?
I definitely do think both of them could be in play, too. Allmendinger has some decent history at Vegas because he finished sixth there last year in the top 20 within the year before. And Vickers, on the other hand, he also has 3 top 15 finishes and is running on better equipment than Allmendinger with Stewart-Haas Racing. So I think Vickers could be a good pick, but Allmendinger is not a bad one to go with either. But between the two of them, I like Vickers just a bit more because of the fact he's riding in Stewart-Haas Racing equipment.
There you have it.
Which is generally better than Daugherty Racing, which Allmendinger is a part of.
There you have it. Sean Engel at SeanMan247. Hey, Sean, do us a favor. Say hello to your dad and kick his butt this weekend, huh?
Will do.
That's all we can ask for. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks.